So, good evening, leaders. Good evening to each and every one of you who has chosen growth over comfort, who has carved time from busy schedules to be here, not just to listen, but to become. Welcome to another powerful evening of the Unfolding Capacity Leadership Masterclass, where leadership is stirred, sharpened, and stretched, where insights meet intention, where ordinary men and women rise to become, where ordinary men and women rise to become extraordinary change makers. Tonight, we are deeply honored to host a woman whose journey continues to shape hearts, literally and figuratively, across our nation and continent. Please join me in welcoming our guest presenter, the remarkable Dr. Phophi Raphulu. She's a pediatric cardiologist at Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital, a lecturer at the University of the Witwatersrand, global presenter, mentor, a mother, and a current co-chair of the African Female Pediatrician Network. She embodies what it means to lead with both skill and soul, precision, and purpose. But tonight's session is not a lecture, it's a conversation, a moment to be fully present, fully engaged, and fully committed to our own leadership development. So, I want to encourage you, grab your journal, your notebook, your device, take notes, capture what speaks to you. Use the chat box to share reflections, ask questions, or echo moments that hit home. And when the opportunity arises, don't hesitate to unmute, raise your hand, and participate. Because leaders are not just shaped by what they hear, they are shaped by how they respond. Let this not be just another online session. Let it be a divine interruption, a leadership encounter that marks a before and an after. So, once more, welcome to this sacred space of growth. Welcome to the unfolding of your own capacity. Let us lean in, let us learn, and let us lead. And now, with great anticipation and deep respect, we head over to Dr. Phophi Raphulu. Doctor, over
Um,
to
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm deeply honored to be part of this platform. I think it's a really, really amazing initiative. I mean, I can talk about so many things in the workspace. I'm involved in academics in the university. We have a lot of people who are in leadership positions who sometimes I feel like should have actually attended some of these sessions because they've got a lot of skills that are lacking. So I really, really admire the guys who put together this initiative, and it's really encouraging. So thank you for having me. I would like this to be interactive, so please do stop me if you seek clarity on something that I've said. Which you don't understand because, like Amazement said, this is not meant to be a lecture. Yes, there are slides because we need to have things in structured form and take down notes. But please feel free to ask me any questions if you would like to ask me or if you seek clarity. At the end of the day, I don't want to just be talking and there's nothing that you grasp. So I hope this will be worth your time, and I hope I can be able to teach you what I have learned from people who've gone before me. So I would like to I've chosen to speak about something that's very close to my heart. There's a lot of components on leadership, and there some that are taken more into account than others. Others are ignored because people think they're not so significant, when, as a matter of fact, they are actually significant. So I'm going to be speaking about soft skills in leadership. As I go through the presentation, I'm going to explain to you what are the soft skills that I'm talking about, and how do you work on those soft skills. I must start by saying that this is not only relevant for people who are in leadership positions, it's relevant for people who aspire to be in leadership positions, people who may not know that they are leaders, because you don't actually need a title to be a leader. The fact that if you find yourself doing something that inspires people, you are, as a matter of fact, a leader. So this is relevant for each and everyone. So thank you for that introduction. I'd just like to start by saying I've got no disclosures. I would like to start with the principles or the basics. What is leadership? When I read a lot of articles and a lot of books that have been written by leaders or authors, that focus on leadership, a lot of definitions came up, but I picked up the ones that I felt I like. There's lots of different definitions. So leadership is basically the ability to guide, influence, and inspire others toward achieving common goals. I like John Maxwell. I like his quotes. I believe he's got so many principles on leadership, and that's why I like his definitions. So John Maxwell defined leadership as more disposition, which is in a way character or who you are, than your actual position. So in essentially, you influence others from wherever you are. It may be in the hospital, which is the clinical space. It may be as an entrepreneur. It may be in your business place. If you're a teacher, it may be at your school. You influence others from wherever you are. And as a result, we call you a leader, according to John Maxwell's definition. The true measure of leadership is influence. Influence, nothing more and nothing less. These are some of the definitions that I got from some of the leadership speakers. Mindy Gibbons, according to Mindy Gibbons, leadership is having a vision, sharing that vision, and inspiring others to support your vision while they create their own vision. A true leader is secure in creating a framework that encourages others to tap into their own skills. The key word being encouraging others to tap into their own skills and ideas and freely contribute to the whole of the project or company. And this is by Judy Crockett. Peter defined leadership as the only definition of a leader is someone who has followers. Leadership is influence. This is John Maxwell again. It's nothing more, nothing less influence. And this is my favorite definition of all, influence. A true leader is defined by their influence on people, not by the title they carry, contrary to popular belief. What are the domains of leadership? So I must start by saying that you've got the basic domains that apply to all of us, irrespective of what sector you're based in. But you also have domains of leadership based on that are more relevant or narrowed down to where you are based, whether it's in healthcare, whether it's in business, whether it's in education. You've got your own different domains of leadership, but these are the basic principles that apply to everyone. So you've got personal leadership. This implies to me as a leader, your driving values, your integrity or courage, self-management, self-development. That's actually the foundation of being a leader, the work that you do on yourself. Then you go to team leadership. So this is where now you're looking at leading your unit. And now you talk about envisioning the future, you talk about growing people, and you talk about managing the operation to reach a certain goal. Mastery includes intention, will, and skill. Collective leadership essentially means leading in the broader context. This includes thinking and acting strategically, leading and mobilizing energy for change, and shaping organizational culture. These are the basic principles or basic domains of leadership that apply to everyone, irrespective of what domain or what sector you are based in. This is more relevant. I will not spend too much time on it because we've got people from different sectors. We've got people from education and all those different sectors. But these are the things that apply to people in the health sector. So you've got different forms, for example, clinical leadership. This is if you work in a hospital. When you're working in a hospital, you've got juniors that are under you. You've got doctors who are interns. You've got doctors who are community service doctors. You've got sisters or nurses. You've got all the different stuff that's there. You are a leader as long as you are senior to him. Then you've got, if you happen to be working in a teaching hospital or an academic hospital like myself, you have educational and academic leadership. For example, we have medical students, we have people who are training to be specialists, we have people who are doing research. So our area of leadership is a bit broader because of all these different domains that include working in an academic institute. This is just an example of the different domains of leadership. Then you've got people who operational and administrative leaders. These are your hospital CEOs, your clinical managers. If you are a nurse, you also have operational managers. That's also another domain of leadership. But like I said, this differs based on which domain you are focused on. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this. So I would like to focus on the soft skills. Contrary to popular belief, I've seen quite a lot of quotes and I've read a lot of books that talk about things that get you noticed, things that get you hired, things that get you promoted. And the traditional teaching has been focused on your hard skills being what you can do. Are you competent? Are you able to achieve that task? So looking at how you perform as a person, but there's been a movement or there's been a shift. Companies are actually now looking at the soft skills because they're discovering more and more that the soft skills are harder to teach, whereas the hard skills are very easy to teach. I mean, you can train someone, you can take someone from the street who doesn't have a skill and you teach that person and they become an expert. But the soft skills are very, very hard to teach. And this is something that I would like us to take home from this session and to work on. They've been ignored for the longest time ever, but promotions, companies are now looking at people who've got very good soft skills. So these are some of the quotations or quotes that I like regarding soft skills. And I'm going to go into what soft skills are and how you can develop your soft skills to actually help you get employment if you're seeking employment, get promotions if you're seeking promotion in your workplace, and find yourself a manager of a company. And who knows, maybe even a president of a country. That's not impossible. So the art of soft skills is the language of leadership. Soft skills get little respect, but they will make or break your career. Leadership is a combination of strategy and character. Character. If you must be without one, be without the strategy. Never be without character, no matter where you are as a leader. Soft skills aren't optional extras. In other words, it's not something that you pick and choose or you decide whether you work with them or not. They are the reason you land jobs, promotions, and career breakthroughs. What are the leadership soft skills? I'll go into that more when I just elaborate first on this. Successful leadership relies on a variety of soft skills. As you develop in your career, it's important to develop your soft skills so you can increase your opportunities for advancement into leadership roles. Successful leadership commonly encompasses strong soft skills that enable leaders to motivate and inspire their teams. Inspiration. The ability to lead successfully often depends on the leader's ability to strategize, listening to feedback, and incorporating your team's ideas and contributions. So leadership is not a one-man show. It's not just you sit on the table. You need to listen to people, you need to listen to people's ideas, and you need to incorporate your team's ideas because that's actually what creates dynamite. Most of the time, we get the impression that the leader is the smartest person in the room. The leader is the one who comes up with the smart ideas. Contrary to quite the opposite is if you have a team of highly skilled people and you give yourself time to listen to the ideas and you combine those ideas, you create magic, you create dynamite. So listening to feedback and incorporating your team's ideas is very important. Soft skills are sometimes called people skills. I think that's the most commonly used term, people skills. You need to have people skills if you're looking at being a successful leader. In some instances, you may call them transferable skills because you can actually transfer them from one job to another. So people skills are personal characteristics that enable leaders to interact effectively with people. You need to be a people's person. You need to be able to relate to people who are at different levels. You can have people who are at a lower level, according to the world's definition, and have people who are at a higher level. As a leader, you need to be able to interact with both groups, irrespective of how far they are in life. Research shows that soft skills are more critical in leadership roles, especially empathy. Leaders who have empathy create a psychologically safe environment. A safe environment is important because you have higher employee retention. In other words, your employees are happy. They don't have a lot of mental health issues. We actually have a lot of mental health issues. People going into depression, people having mental breakdowns at work because of a hostile working environment, and leaders who do not look at them as humans. Leaders who just expect them to perform and forget that these people that you're dealing with are actually humans at the end of the day, and they need your empathy. So you need to prioritize creating a psychologically safe environment. And this is where the empathy comes in. Once you start doing that, you find that you have less likely chances of employee resignation, high chances of job satisfaction from your employees, a lot of employee engagement. In other words, your people become relaxed and free, and they feel unjudged. And when someone is relaxed and free and they're able to be themselves, that environment allows them to come up with the brilliant ideas. Because if you have a hostile environment where everyone's always tense, everyone's always scared to approach you, you are like scary, you're not going to get the best out of people. Even if I've got a brilliant idea that can take your company to further heights, I'm not going to be able to tell you those ideas because this environment is hostile and it's not a psychologically safe space. So empathy is very important, and it actually works out to improving the productivity of your employees. So I'm just going to list some of the people skills or soft skills that I came across in my reading. Emotional intelligence. I will go through some of them in detail. Emotional intelligence, communication skills, patience and persuasion, flexibility and adaptability, problem-solving skills, teamwork and collaboration, time management, empathy, work ethic, compassion, confidence, integrity, honesty, mentoring skills, decision-making skills, and conflict resolution. These are some of the actually most of the people skills or soft skills. I like calling them soft skills more, but you can call them people skills more. That research has shown that are fundamental or are important in making your business or whatever wherever you are a leader, an organization thrive and succeed and actually reach its full potential as it should be. I'm going to talk a bit about empathy. The ability to empathize and understand others is a trait that skilled leaders rely on to lead teams and direct processes. You need to understand that the person you're dealing with is a human being. You don't know what this person is going through. You don't know the emotional state they are in. You need to be able to look beyond the person you're seeing in front of you. You need to be able to approach co-workers with kindness and acceptance. And this can inspire and foster positive work relationships. People shouldn't just see you as this person who's up there. People shouldn't see you as someone who's up there. There's a big gap between you and them. They can't approach you. They can't reach you. You're not going to be able to get the best out of your employees if you don't foster positive work relationships by embracing empathy. Empathy in leadership shows vulnerability. It makes leaders more approachable and more relatable to your teammates, which is very fundamental. Confidence, one of my favorite ones. Confidence. I tell you, confidence will take you places. Confidence will take you places. I sort of like in my workspace, I'm so inspired. I'm at Wits, and Wits is all about excellence. Even my hospital is all about excellence. But one thing that I've picked up from everyone that I work with, from the professors, from the junior staff, is their confidence. And it is so amazing to be working in such an environment. And I've sort of like learned over the years how far confidence can take you. Good leaders are assertive, and it shows. So you need to speak with a firm voice, obviously not being scary, like I said, but you need to be sure of yourself when you're talking. And this starts with the inner work. If you lack confidence, if you're not sure of yourself, then how are you going to make your leaders confident in you as a leader? If you're not sure of yourself, or if you look like you don't know what you're doing, you need to be assertive. You need to know and be sure of what you're talking about. Confidence in leadership also encompasses the ability to make mistakes. As a leader, you don't know everything. As a leader, you make mistakes. As a leader, you are also continuously growing. You need to have a growth mindset. If you think as a leader you've arrived or you've reached a ceiling, that's the moment you stop being a leader. You need to have an ability to admit your mistakes and improve. And by doing that, people are actually seeing that you're a human being. Remember, you are a role model without knowing it. People are watching you. People are watching how you deal with your mistakes. People are watching how you deal with your imperfections, because at the end of the day, we're humans. If you act like you don't make mistakes, then people can't relate to you because you look like you don't make any mistakes. So you need to be able to admit your mistakes and improve. You need to act as a role model for teammates, and you need to be aware of strengths and weaknesses. Confidence in leadership means being open to improvement and understanding the value you provide. I like the being open to improvement, admitting your mistakes. You are not the most smartest person in your organization. You might actually find that there are people that you are leading who have got more experience or who are actually smarter than you. That should not threaten you as a leader. That should not, having someone who's strong should not threaten you as a leader, because all the efforts combined, and if the organization succeeds, the credit will go back to you as the leader. You need to be able, you shouldn't be threatened by people who you feel know more than you, because the reality is there will be people who portray that character. Just an example of how confidence can help you. I'll just use an example of myself. So I'm a pediatric cardiologist, so I specialize in babies who've got heart diseases. So when I applied for the post at the hospital I work in, I had just qualified as a pediatrician. I was very junior. They advertised the post for a qualified pediatric cardiologist. So they wanted someone who was a qualified pediatric cardiologist. Thankfully, I had people who speak into my life, who have seen me at work, who have seen my capabilities, and they advised me to apply, because sometimes you actually need someone who sees you from the outside and says, you know what, I've seen you working. I believe you can do this. When sometimes you feel like your confidence is shaken for various reasons. So I applied for that post, knowing very well I've got zero experience. I mean, I was the most junior person, zero experience as a pediatric cardiologist. I've just come fresh from training as a pediatrician, because you start off as a pediatrician before you go on to become a pediatric cardiologist. So now I applied, and then I went for the interview. I put my best foot forward. I spoke very well with confidence. I believed in myself. If there's one thing that I know, is I believe in myself, and I don't believe anyone can tell me what I can or cannot do. I believed in myself. I put my best foot forward. I could tell that the people who were in the panel were impressed. And I got the post. I was the first ever pediatric cardiologist to get a post as a pediatric before. So I trained, essentially, I trained to be a cardiologist while on the post. And that to me showed me how important confidence is, how important believing in yourself is. Sometimes we get stuck in looking at people who look like they're high up there in leadership positions, and you think, wow, this guy is so smart. Wow, this guy is doing this and that. I remember my dad, I was like that in high school. I used to always say to my dad, but I'm not going to be able to do that. This person is smart. This person is getting 100% in mathematics and all those things. And then you ask me, does this person not eat the same food as you eat? Does this person not, how different is this person? And he would always say, there is no such thing. There is no such thing. This person is exactly like you. I had actually wanted to show a video, but I unfortunately had to take it out because it wasn't playing well. It's a video of President Barack Obama talking about confidence. There are lots of people who are in leadership positions who, in all honesty, are not competent. But because they are so confident in themselves, because they've been made to believe that they are excellent, they go for it and they're there. You hear someone say, I went to Harvard, I got this qualification. But when you actually sit with this person, I actually like when I see people who are in high positions, I like sitting with them, conversing with them to actually hear how they think. Then you actually realize, no, man, this person is actually normal. This person is actually just like me. It's just that they've got the confidence and they had the exposure, and that's why they're able to go high. But if you don't have the exposure, if you doubt yourself and you second guess yourself, you'll find yourself not people who are less qualified than you doing better than you, because they're confident and they believe in themselves. So this confidence is a soft skill that will take you places, be it when you're applying for a job, be it when you're seeking promotion. Integrity. Leadership requires consistency in actions, values, principles, expectations, and methods. Integrity is not popular, especially in our world that is full of corruption, where it's very easy to change the way you do things because you think, if I'm true to myself, if I do the right thing, I will not get ahead. I need to cheat the system. I need to do all those things. I'm here to tell you that really, really integrity does go a long way. I have seen it working in my life. I have seen favor with people who are my mentors. I've seen myself sitting in meetings where I'm the most junior person, and I actually get scared when I'm in a meeting with all these professors who, with so much experience, I feel very small. But I've chosen to work with integrity. I don't make noise when I'm working. People just see the way I'm doing things, and the right people come to my life. The right people who've got the keys to open the doors will open the doors for you. So, integrity in leadership means doing the right thing, no matter the circumstances, and great leaders know this. This is a soft skill that will also take you places. Mentoring skills. I like the saying, lift as you rise. Do not aim to be the only one who is up there. Do not aim to be the only one who has a seat at the table. Take someone along. Take someone along. Teach people. In my workplace, we like saying, see one, do one, teach one. Essentially, that means the first time when you're learning, you see how it's done. Then the second time, when you've seen how it's done, you do it, and then you teach. You are not a leader if you believe that there is only you are the only one who deserves a seat at the table. You need to be passionate about mentoring people. Whether training new employees or helping teams implement improvement plans, successful leaders are good mentors. They lead their teams and they support their growth and development in the workplace. And they find ways to accommodate learning. You need to have a growth mindset. You need to have a learning mindset. You need to tell yourself, I'm still learning. I haven't arrived. As much as I'm still learning, I also need to transfer my skills. I need to pick up someone as I go along. And you achieve more when you pull someone up. Decision making skills. Considering all perspectives, comparing advantages and disadvantages, and projecting outcomes of making choices are fundamental to effective decision making. Additionally, the ability to decisively act during times of conflict is another trait of effective leadership. You need to be able to make decisions. You shouldn't be a people pleaser, because if you are a people pleaser who worries about what this one thinks about me, what this one will say if I do this, you're not going to be able to make the right decisions. You need to be able to be impartial and make decisions that are right for your organization, whether they are popular or not, whether people will like you or not for those decisions, but you need to be able to make decisions. You need to have decision making skills. And one of the things that stands in the way of being a good decision maker is people pleasing, because you worry about what's this one going to do if I say this? What's this one going to do if I do this? But you need to put that aside and work on having good decision making skills. Conflict resolution. You cannot avoid, you may be the most peaceful person, you cannot avoid conflict in whatever space you are in. And as a leader, you need to know conflict resolution. You need to be able to resolve issues in the workplace. So this means that you need to develop techniques like remaining impartial, in other words, not taking sides, hearing both sides, meeting with the team for a feedback session, and actively listening to all individuals' points of view. So you need to be, whether you've got friends in your organization, whether you've got friends in your company, you need to be impartial. You need to put the friendship aside and listen to both individuals' points of view. Conflict resolution skills are very important. You need to be able to calm heightened emotions and maintain harmony in the workplace. And this is extremely valuable in making the workspace a psychologically safe space. Emotional intelligence, self-awareness. You need to be able to look at yourself. You need to be able to look at yourself, be aware of yourself, be aware of your shortcomings as an individual. Self-awareness, mindfulness, interpersonal skills, they are key traits of emotional intelligence, something that people don't really focus about. You need to know how to read the room. That's part of emotional intelligence. For example, you may be in a room, you don't just arrive in the room and just start talking. You observe, you assess, you read the room. That determines what you say. Just remember, not everything that comes to your mind needs to be said. You need to know the right timing of what to say and when to say it and how to say it. I like the example of, I like how how President Ramaphosa handled the meeting with Donald Trump. He is a good example of what it means to read the room. We all know how crazy Donald Trump can get and how that interview could have easily backfired if President Ramaphosa had gone there with on his high horse, for example, saying, I'm up there. I'm going to challenge him. I'm going to speak to him. I'm going to show him who I am. That would have backfired. I mean, Trump would have said all those things and then the meeting would have been worthless. He wouldn't have been able to achieve what he wanted to achieve. But he read the room and he approached Trump in a way that I don't think Trump actually anticipated it. So reading the room is a skill that's important. You need to know what to say, when to say it, and not when not to say what you're thinking. Not everything you think needs to be said. So that's very important. That's also part of emotional intelligence. Leadership depends on the ability to evaluate your own emotions. Your own emotions are important. So you do self-introspection because you may have woken up on the wrong side of the bed, or you may be going through your own personal challenges that will affect how you interact with people at work. That may actually trigger you. In other words, you may be easily irritable, snapping at people, shouting at people because of your own personal things that you're going through. So you need to be able to evaluate your own emotions before confronting situations. You need to identify things that trigger you, things that make you angry, things that make you an unpleasant person to be around. So the inner work is very important. It's not just the outer work, the inner work is very important. And it's also important in how you relate to people, how you interact with others. You need to be able to evaluate your own emotions before you interact with others. That's also part of emotional intelligence. A soft skill that usually is undermined. But I've seen leaders, the downfall of leaders who have got the skill, they've got the qualifications, they've got their influence in a way, but they lack emotional intelligence, and this can be a downfall. So it's something that we should not ignore. So how do we develop soft skills? It's quite difficult. Sometimes it's inborn, it's your character, but it's something that you can work on. Soft skills are harder to develop than the hard skills. Developing soft skills can take more time and practice than actual hard skills. It's an ongoing process and it's ongoing. It doesn't end. So you don't develop your soft skills and then that's it. You have moments where you have to step back and reflect. It requires self-awareness, self-introspection, giving yourself time out to look at yourself, not to forget the willingness to improve. You may be a leader, but you don't know everything. There's always room for growth, there's always room for improvement, and you need to have that open mindset. I'm always inspired by my boss who's now retired. She's got about 40 years of experience as a cardiologist, but I have never, and she's well respected. Whenever we go to world congresses with the well respected cardiologists, you can tell they respect her. Her opinion matters because she's got experience for years. But I've never once heard her saying, I have arrived. I've seen it all. If a child comes in with a heart condition that she's never seen, she's not scared to say, I don't know. This is the first time I'm seeing this. I'm going to go and read up on it with the 40 years of experience. So as a leader, you should not forget, you must always be willing to improve because there's always room for improvement. First step in how to develop soft skills, you need to observe and learn. Let's say you've got trouble listening to others, which a lot of people do. A lot of leaders don't listen. When someone is speaking, you're always quick to interject and share your opinion before the person actually finishes saying what they want to say. So how do you learn active listening? Observing and learning. You don't always have to be talking. You observe sometimes. Someone that you've identified in your organization who excels in this, you can learn from this person. You can actually take notes from this person. I mean, like I said, we're learning from each other. We're working on improving every day. So we can learn from the people we're working with. And suppose there's a manager who everyone loves because of their active listening skills. Everyone loves to be listened to. And a lot of us don't listen. We just hear what you're saying and we answer, or we don't even let you complete the sentence or what you want to say. But people love active listeners. Observe how, if you find that there's a person in your team who does this very well, observe them. Observe how she listens, what body language she uses, and how she responds to others. You can actually learn this. Even though it's not something you have in you, it's not something that's inborn, you can actually learn it from someone who does this very well. Ask for feedback. I think as leaders, this is very important because if you're just working, if you're just working as a leader, sometimes you can overestimate your abilities. And it's very common in most people's, you can overestimate. It's good to be confident. Like I said, I love the confidence, but you need to have a balance. You should not overestimate your abilities. In other words, people who are working with you, you need to be able to sit with people who are watching you in action as a leader. Ask feedback from your colleagues. Ask them, so what do you think about the way my leadership style? Where do you think I can improve? You need to be able to take constructive criticism positively and work on it. You need to have moments. You can do it maybe as a one-on-one. Maybe if you've got someone that you can open, if you struggle with opening up to people or opening up to your peers or to your juniors, because sometimes leaders don't want to be seen as weak when they open up to their juniors. Ask someone maybe who you think is at your level. So, what do you think about my leadership? Do you think I'm a good leader? Because there's always pros and cons. So you need to get both sides. Where do you think I can improve? You need to be doing that regularly, and it shouldn't be a once-off thing. Sometimes it's very dangerous to work in leadership without getting feedback, without doing reflection on where you can improve. So you need to take constructive criticism positively and work on it. Practicing self-reflection is important. You need to have moments where you check out. It's a powerful tool for personal growth. I think this is really undermined. We really don't do work on ourselves. We really, 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 really don't do work on ourselves. So we need to practice self-reflection. You need to take time to reflect on your day, identify the moments where you could have used your soft skills better. Look at how your day was. What could I have done differently? How did I interact with my junior, be it an intern doctor? If you're a school principal, how did I interact with my teacher? How could I have done that differently? Did I show empathy? Did I show good leadership skills when she was trying to open up to me about something? And this is very important. It's a tool that you need to practice using all the time, not just as a once off. This is very important in personal growth. And like we said, there's a lot of leadership talks on growth mindset. So growth is very important as a leader. Attending workshops and seminars is very important. And some people may laugh at this. Some people think they know what leadership is, but believe you me, workshops and seminars on leadership are important. So there's lots of organizations that often hold workshops and seminars for employees to enhance their soft skills because, like I said, they've identified that soft skills have been ignored for the longest time ever. And a lot of people are there's been a lot of a downfall of leaders because of how they ignore the soft skills and focused on their hard skills, meaning they focused on what they can do, what they can achieve, their skill, their qualifications, and they ignore the soft skills. So there are actually organizations and workshops and seminars that are being done to enhance your soft skills. So these are great opportunities to learn from experts. You can also talk to people who attend these workshops and get insight into their experiences. So this is one of the tools you can use. I like it. It's an online tool. It's the UCD Dublin Professional Academy in Ireland. So they've got a lot of workshops and they've got a lot of things. So they've got different sections if you want to work on your soft skills, conflict resolution, a lot of things on leadership. I actually like this online tool and I refer to it quite a lot, especially when I'm interacting with the people that I work with in my organization. So this is something that you can take away or consider looking into. But like I said, depending on which organization you're in, there are some organizations that actually host workshops and seminars that focus on this. So great communication, character, competitive drive, consistency, compassion, confidence skills are all skills that successful leaders share. Great communication, character, competitive drive, consistency, compassion, and confidence. These are people's skills that you need. Forget the qualifications. Not to say we must ignore them. You've got the qualifications, you've got the position, you've got the title if you've got the title. But these, if you ignore these things, that can actually be your downfall. So some of the jobs that, like I mentioned, most people are looking at all of these when they're looking at giving people jobs, when they're looking at promotion, because the hard skills are much easier to teach than the soft skills, which people tend to ignore. I'm just going to talk a bit about our organization, an example of how the leadership courses that I've attended have helped me in my actual organization. So my organization is the African Female Pediatrician Network. It's a non-profit company, and it's got a group of female pediatricians, so doctors who specialize in children, and it's a combination of pediatricians in the private sector and the public sector. Also, people who are not pediatricians who may have quit clinical medicine and maybe they're sitting in boards or other things. So I'm one of the directors, and I'm also the chairperson. And these two ladies, Dr. Machaba and Dr. Bupape, are the core directors. We also have a committee that also is comprised of female pediatricians. I must say to you, this group of ladies, these are ladies who are all competent. They are all excellent. And sometimes if you're a leader who is easily threatened, you may actually be threatened by them because they are highly competent, they're smart, they've got excellent ideas. And sometimes I feel honored. Or actually, I ask myself, oh my God, how did I end up leading such a group of amazing women who have so many ideas, who are smart? Sometimes I believe they're actually smarter than me, and they have a lot to bring to the table. But one thing that I've realized, we complement each other. We are excellent in different spheres. Someone is excellent in business because we actually have the business side of medicine as part of this organization. Someone is excellent as a mentor. Someone is excellent as a researcher. But all of these combine create dynamite. And that's why I mentioned to you guys that you don't always have to be the smartest person. The leader is not the smartest person in the room. You just have to be able to put together a group of individuals who are skilled and talented. Then you will get the outcome that you desire without being threatened. Everyone is excellent in their own way, and you've got your own excellence. I just thought to bring this example because this humbles me all the time. They are the amazing women that I'm surrounded with in our organization. And this is a picture of some of the ladies. The committee has gotten bigger from here. So essentially, we aim to transform healthcare, particularly in South Africa, but we've started branching off to other African countries. We focus on mother and child healthcare. We do mentorship. So we mentor medical students because we're in the medical field. We mentor medical students. We also partner with organizations that help students who are struggling with funding their debt. Because you have students who've got bursaries, you've got students who've got NSFAS, but you've got students who are in between. They don't qualify to get a bursary. They don't qualify to they above the means test for getting NSFAS. So we actually raise funds to help students fund their studies and become doctors because we believe that a child's background or child's financial circumstances shouldn't stand in the way of what a person desires to be and what they desire to achieve. So that's just amongst other things that we desire to do. But you can go onto our website if you'd like to know more about our organization. If you know someone who may be junior, maybe someone who's aspiring to be a doctor, they may still be in high school, they may still be in university, they can get in touch with them and we can help with mentorship at an early stage. Give exposure to our people so they know what's possible, what they can achieve. So in conclusion, being a good leader in today's world of work requires more than just having a fancy job title and a glass office. Today, successful leadership relies on a number of different soft skills, such as the ability to motivate and inspire teams, deliver creative solutions while you provide ongoing organizational success and making sure everyone's happy. As the idea of hiring for soft skills gains more prominence, like I mentioned, companies are looking more at your soft skills when they hire or when they're looking at promotion. The focus is going to change. The focus will undoubtedly turn to leaders and the type of soft skills that they can offer in order to deliver results. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Dr. Raphulu, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a presentation. Well done. And thank you. I think while you are still here, I'm going to give people an opportunity. And all I'm just seeing is comments on Bravo and clapping hands. I'm sure that people are clapping hands in the background that we cannot hear. It was an exceptional presentation from the beginning to
Thank
the
you.
end. And I love the topic, soft skills, soft skills. But while we are there, I want to give anyone who's here would like to ask a question, to please just show by lifting up of your hand, would like to ask a question, and I'm gonna point you and allow you the opportunity. See the first person who has raised their hand is, oh, by the way, before you even go to their hands, we do have some medical students that are here as well, which is exciting. So they got to hear one, Mukatu Chilingana, she's doing a final year at SMU. So that's good. I'm sure she also invited some of her friends as well. But awesome. Anyway, let us go to the first question or comment by Sheila. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. Good evening, Doctor, and everyone. Um, Looking at the responsibilities that you have, I would like to know how you manage time management as a soft skill. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess that is something that I'm still yet to achieve. I'm gonna be honest, I can't really say I've achieved it, but it's a lot of things I'm doing. Sure, working at Bara is a lot. So I'm responsible for supervising interns, community service doctors, medical officers, registrars, so that's someone who's training to be a specialist, people who are training to be cardiologists. So in other words, they're already cardiologists, but they're training to be cardiologists. Then I also coordinate the fifth year medical students. So in other words, I'm responsible for designing their program in the pediatric rotation. We also have other responsibilities in the sense of this is in addition to my clinical work because I am a doctor, so I need to be seeing patients, I need to be in theater. Then I have to do research. The expectation is when you're working in an academic hospital, you have to do research because medicine is ever changing. So then there's research. In addition to that, I have to supervise people who are busy with their own research. At the moment, I'm supervising 5 master students. Then when I come home, I have to be a mother, I have to be a wife because I'm a human being at the end of the day. It is very difficult, I must be honest with you. It is very difficult, but I do my best. I do my best when I feel that I'm exhausted because working in such an environment can be exhausting. When I feel that I'm exhausted, I take breaks, I take mental check ins, but you need to be able to balance. You don't want an area to lag, but the reality is, unfortunately, sometimes there will be an area that lags because you're human and there's only so much you can do. But you need to start doing the high performance stuff, the things that require a lot of your energy. So what I do is when I'm not tired or when I've got the energy, I do the tasks that require a lot of mental focus, that require my energy a lot, and I attend to them first. Whereas the low-hanging fruits or the things that don't require a lot of my energy, I leave them last. So I start with the harder tasks first, and then I deal with the tasks that are not so demanding a bit later. But I must say it's a skill that I myself I'm still working on. I'm not there yet, but I sort of like am working towards getting there. I hope that answers your questions.
Yes, thank you.
Wow, you do a lot. Uh, but yeah, it's good that you're still learning and the attitude already is right. But I have a question, and for me, it's not just on your personal work, it's just on your views. You spoke on soft skills intensively, and I want to ask, really have a lot of questions, but I'm going to start with this question. Since you're working at an institution of higher learning as well, and you get to observe different students and registrars and MOs and interns and all of that. What do you think, just from your point of view, do you think institutions of higher learning are doing enough to instill and teach soft skills to the students they produce? And especially with your conclusion that says that there is a shift from the demand of mere hard skills to actually demanding you to have proper soft skills. Do you think institutions are doing enough? And if not, what do you think they can do? And how can they create environments that will teach and train soft skills at these institutions, but also at places of work and learning, in hospitals, for example, and in these companies with bring young people who are at internships and all of that. what can be done if enough is not being done? Thank you.
Personally, I don't think we are not doing enough. We have started doing the work, but we're not doing enough. A lot of the focus has been when you're training, for example, medical students, we've been focusing on teaching them medicine, the principles of medicine, physiology, anatomy, clinical practice. And when the students, what I've experienced is when the students actually come into the workspace, into the clinical space, because in the early years, I'll use medical students as an example because those are the ones I interact with on a daily basis. When they're in their early years, because essentially in the early years you're just in the university, you don't go to the hospitals yet, they're fine. We're teaching them whatever, we're teaching them anatomy, physiology, how to be a doctor and all those things, but the clinical part of it. But when they actually come to the hospital, we actually start seeing the gaps. We see students who struggle with work ethic. We see students who struggle with conflict resolution, students who are not getting well with their peers because they haven't been taught this. They have not been taught this. And one of the things that I find challenging is a lot of the times I deal with students who are being labeled as difficult. They are labeled as difficult by their teachers because they haven't been taught these soft skills. They don't know empathy, they don't have a work ethic. And this you will know is very important as a doctor. Forget the importance of the soft skills as a leader, but as a doctor, these are important. So what we've identified, and unfortunately, we identified it after we experienced the problems of students who didn't have the soft skills, is now we're going to include it as part of the teaching. So we've actually started doing sessions with the lectures that focus on the soft skills, that focus on teamwork, because you need teamwork as a doctor. You need teamwork. We've actually introduced. So I think it's something that varsities should implement as part of the teaching. We should not only focus on teaching medicine or the theoretical aspect of whatever course they're doing, but we need to include soft skills as a curriculum, as part of the curriculum, as part of the course, because these students, when they qualify, they have to be doctors, they have to get employment. And you'll find that these students are struggling. They can't work. They are moving from job to job, from one job to the other, because their soft skills haven't been worked on. So I think it's lacking. In summary, I think it's lacking. I think institutions of higher learning should work more on including the training of soft skills as part of the curriculum.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. I think uh, if more can even spread, as you said, to more institutions, that could help a lot. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Nadi's phone, as I'll say, Nadi's iPhone, Nadi. Please go ahead with your comment or question. Nadi, you have raised your hand. If you're ready to ask, please go ahead. Okay. I think once they're ready, they will get to ask the question. But I want to say that while you're still here, Dr. Raphulu, that we do have with us tonight, in as part of the attendees, Mrs. Queen Munyai, who's here, and she's the CEO of Consumer uh, Services Goods and Services Ombudsman, and she's here with us, and she was attending part of the session. So I just want to say, Mrs. Queen, you're welcome, and it's an honor to have you here, Madam CEO. And I'm just inspired today because we do have two great a lot of women leaders that are here and that are inspiring us. So I'm gonna allow you to make a comment in a short while. I'm just gonna ask a question and then you can make a comment, Mrs. Munyai, on the presentation as well and get to greet Dr. Raphulu. But I have a question, another question that I want to ask. And my question is that, especially now looking at you mentioned the issue of jobs, and we know in health that has been a challenge recently with doctors protesting, looking for jobs. And, everyone it's like now the thing that seemed to be a guarantee to get a job now is no longer there. And so I have a question to say, what do you think institutions of higher learning could do, including our teaching hospitals for that matter, to prepare our future health professionals and students in general for the world we live in? What do you think we can do? What do you think institutions can do, like to just ensure that we prepare this? Because I think that there is a hope
Mm,
that government will keep opening opportunities, but at the same time, it seems like it's becoming difficult to just rely on government alone. And these are
mm.
students that are well trained, they are smart, intelligent, all of that. What can we do to prepare them for the reality that they actually face and not train them as if we are unaware of the realities that they're going to face? People are completing their community services, they're about to complete their
Mm.
internships. That's the fear that many young doctors have, and more so, many graduates from different fields. What do you think institutions can do to prepare?
I think we need to give exposure. So we need to teach medical students, because now we're talking about I'm going to focus on the medical students. We need to teach them the different spheres of medicine. So the traditional teaching is you work, you complete your medical degree, you do your internship, you do your community service, and then you apply to get employment at a hospital. But we should be, they're actually different spheres of medicine. Medicine is not just working at the hospital. And this is one of the things that we are we've been trying to achieve with our organization, that there are different spheres. So you can be a doctor who works at the hospital. You can go into research and work for a research institute. You can work for a pharmaceutical company. You can work on these pharmaceutical companies. You can sit on boards of things like the HPCSA, some private medical companies. In essence, I'm trying to say we need to introduce at an early age the diversity of medicine. That students mustn't just think, and you also the entrepreneurship part of it, as in setting up your own private practice, meaning if you don't get employment, that's not the end of the world. You can set up your private practice, you can try research, you can try. So I think one of the things we can do is introducing at an early stage the diversity of medicine and the different areas you can go into if you don't get employment. And it's a reality. I find myself surprised. I remember a lot of people, there's some people who've done medicine because they guaranteed employment. In the past, you were guaranteed you can never be an unemployed doctor, but things are changing. We've got doctors who are unemployed, who are just sitting at home doing nothing. And because they only know one area of I can only apply in a hospital and get employment in a hospital. If they don't get that post, they're sitting at home. So I think we need to introduce at an early stage the diversity of medicine and the different fields. Firstly, we need to prepare them that this is not the only path of medicine, because if you wait for employment, it might not happen. That reality needs to be said. We are training lots of people. We're training registrars who are training to be specialists. When they finish, they don't have jobs. And a lot of them go into private practice. So, in summary, I think we need to introduce the diversity of medicine at an early stage to medical students so they know what they can branch into if their first choice doesn't work out.
Spot on. Thank you. Thank you. I think there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, most definitely. But we're glad we've got leaders like you to ensure that that actually get done. There is Radzirani who has a question, and then followed by the man. And then I'm gonna also try to help Lady with ensuring that they can unmute their mic so that they can be able to ask. Can we ask Radzirani to go first, followed by the men, and then Lady will follow.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Raphulu, for the wonderful presentation you gave us. The question that I pose is it's leaning towards more a leadership role. I'm gonna throw a teaspoon in the microwave and sort of dangle around issues that I think are a topic to discuss on a leadership level. Now we have a country, South Africa, that has policies, should I say, to put more females in a more management or leadership role. I heard that you said part of developing better leaders is integrating soft skills into training and all that stuff. But do you really think, because when you hear people say, especially females, say, no, I prefer a male leader and stuff. Unfortunately, that's where I hear it from. Can you say there's a besides integrating it into the medicine degree and all that stuff, is there a place where you can identify that is a key role in making sure that the soft skills get integrated into someone's personality? Because we can't only just rely on people having that skill, let's say from childhood and stuff, because people are different. So can you give some advice in that regard?
So I think this is a challenge that unfortunately we still face. As much as I mentioned the importance of soft skills, we actually have a lot of companies that are struggling with it. We have people who are leaders themselves. I mean, if it starts with you, if you're a leader who does not have any soft skills, it's actually going to cloud the way you do things. Things like, I prefer male, I would rather have this kind of leader and all those things. So I think the implementation, it's going to take a long time. Like I mentioned, that the development of soft skills is a lot of work. It's going to take a long time before we actually get majority of the organizations to understand the significance of these soft skills. So I think it's a start, even if it just starts with one person suggesting this. I totally believe that even in an organization, there is at least one person, even if it's not the actual leader themselves, there's at least one person who understands the significance of soft skills. So maybe that person can suggest or make suggestions on, it's mainly courses and workshops that address this, that have been proven in research to be effective in teaching people how to develop soft skills. I must say it's very difficult. Unfortunately, sometimes we do lose the battle. Sometimes we've got traditional, rigid leaders who do not want to change, who believe their way of doing things is the correct way, who don't believe in tapping into their soft skills. And I think that's something that unfortunately we can't change. We'll win some, we'll lose some. You will have some leaders who believe in what they believe, who are rigid, that you can't really change. But I think it can start with someone, even if it's a small change. Even if you don't see it in this generation, the fact that we are starting now and you see it happening in the next generation is still worth tapping into training on soft skills.
Wow, spot on. I like how you put it there. It's a VUCA world, so those are some of the complexities that we get to deal with of different leaders, and people holding on to traditional ways of doing things. But the world is changing, and we have to prepare. We have to prepare for it. The men, you have a question? May you please go ahead. The men.
Evening, and thank you for allowing me time to ask. Great presentation altogether. I have a question that bothers me day and night, and I'm glad you were presenting on soft skills. But I wanna ask, isn't there an entanglement between professionalism and values? For example, empathy. When you are in a position of leadership, for example, and you favor professionalism, doesn't that discard every other value? Because behind professionalism, there are policies, but behind empathy, for example, there's nothing tangible there. There's nothing that you can say, I'm being empathetic because of these reason. But when you are being professional, you're being professional because you are adhering to the policies that have been put in place. I'm guessing from my question here, you can glean that I'm in education. I'm a deputy principal. So I want to know, isn't there a very thin line, confusion between professionalism and values such as empathy? Thank you.
Okay. So it's true, there is a very thin line, because you can actually be a professional who knows how to do things the right way, who knows how to act a certain way. But personally, I think I don't think you can be a professional. I stand to be corrected. You can correct me, but I don't think you can be a professional without implementing or incorporating some soft skills, because the fact that you know how to do something right, that is integrity. The fact that you know that you're working hard, you're getting your things done, you're getting you're meeting your targets, you're doing everything on time, that falls in a way with getting things done in the right way, and that's integrity. So it's sort of like mixes a bit in a way. There is a bit of a thin line. So I think it's hard to say. You may actually not know that you are using some of your soft skills because that's the way you've been, that's the way you've been doing things. So I think it's a very thin line. But personally, I don't think you can separate professionalism and soft skills. The fact that you are professional means, for example, you've got a good work ethic, which is a soft skill. The fact that you are professional means you know that you need to do the right thing in order to get things done. That sort of like combines, or that sort of like overlaps with integrity, which is a soft skill. So I think maybe in a way you may be acting as a professional, but subconsciously you're not aware that you actually have the soft skills. And like I said, some of the books have said there are some people who inherently have got these soft skills. Some people have to be taught these soft skills like integrity, empathy, and all those things, but there are people who inherently have these soft skills. And I honestly believe that people who have professionalism, good professionalism, have got inherent soft skills. Maybe not all of them, but most of them.
Wow, thank you. I think just to add there that they don't have to be mutually exclusive. It's
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
have to have either or. You can actually still be a professional that adheres to all the requirements in your contract and still be empathetic and still be a person of integrity and still be confident and still because I mean you can't have a policy that says be confident. So it's not like they're mutually exclusive. So it's just one of those things that we work on and we see the gaps. It's not like when you have the other, you don't need the other. You actually can have both.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Nedi says that it's his first time here on the platform. It's a very good discussion led by Dr. Rapulu and emphasize on empathy as a good soft skill as a leader. I'm gonna hand over to Mrs. Queen Munyai, to give her comment or question. She's raised her hand. Madam CEO, go ahead.
Good evening to everybody and to you, our host. Thank you for such a powerful and insightful presentation by Dr. Rapulu. I just want to thank you for the opportunity, but also comment on some of the things that she has said, which I concur with. Being somebody who's on the ground and you find yourself in a male-dominated career, or you find yourself, just like what she has shared, that sometimes you find yourself amongst people that are really seniors or who've been doing this. And sometimes you find that you are also just a female amongst a lot of male, which I agree that we are in a transition. It will take some time to get there. But I think most of the points that have been said here are true. And also maybe to just comment on the how we can be able to add value in today's young people to teach them these soft skills. I think what the Unfolding Capacity Institute is doing, it's also part of what we are doing or what can be done to really impart knowledge to the young ones. Mentorship also, I'm very passionate about mentorship. And I think that although I see a lot of professionals today raising their hands, availing themselves to helping younger, the next generation that is coming and holding the torch, but I think there's still a need for more mentors to come forth. For instance, if I reflect on the foundation that I run for mentorship, I find myself sometimes running out of mentors to allocate these young people. I would like other people to come forth, especially in different professions, because it's easier for someone holding a torch to someone like what Dr. Phophi is doing, where some people that are in the profession of medicine can easily relate with the people that are in the same profession. But I think also if we are authentic in our leadership, it helps the young people to also learn from us, because as they correctly say that more is caught than taught, it will be more effective. And she touched on it, that when we fail or when we make mistakes, we don't have to hide it. We don't have to play strong and show that we are always right. We need to show them when we stumble, so that they can also learn that, in fact, it's okay to make a mistake. It's how you recover from that that will make the most difference. So I think on the last point also, regarding professionalism versus empathy, I agree that it doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be both. But I think what can also add value there is the fact that I've seen that in today's world, to be a leader requires much more, because you need to be closer to the people and use a lot of she spoke about reading the room, but I think also to know your people will also help, because when we talk about professionalism, usually we require people to lead or just play by the book only, just do, it's either black or white and nothing in between. But when you start to be closer to the people, you will realize that you can notice that, for instance, if the policy says if somebody is late, they must get a warning. If you play by the book, we're gonna treat everybody in the organization with a blanket approach. Whereas if you are more empathetic, you will be able to sit with these people and understand what is it that is making them late every day. And when you start to learn those things, you'll realize that you don't necessarily have to play by the book. Sometimes you need to recommend some of the mental health solutions, or propose some platforms that can assist these people with their personal problems that they were going through, which is causing them to falter or do things in other ways. So it is a journey that we are in, and we are in a transition. I think even sometimes I feel like the younger people today, a lot of people say that they are much weaker, maybe if for the lack of a better word, than the previous generation, because when we grew up, we didn't even know about things like your depression or other things that are very common today, because we didn't have time to be depressed. When something goes wrong, you just pick up and move forward. Whereas the other people today, you'll find that they're very fragile. They're very sometimes they take everything very seriously. So to deal with them requires much more than just playing by the book and all that. But I think we are in the right track, as we are doing here, when we're talking to each other, helping one another on how best can we do this and be able to make sure that the next generation does not go through the challenges that we went through in the past. So I really appreciate this opportunity and the insights that are being shared here, which I'm picking up on, writing my notes, and also ready to try them in my daily life. Thank you so much. Looking forward to much more of these sessions. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Dr. Raphulu, do you have a comment to say on that?
All I can just say, I'm honored to have someone of such a high caliber, inspired by my talk. And it's nice to hear. I believe so much in, not to say I focus on females, on women in power. And to hear perspective from another fellow woman in power from a different domain, because I'm mainly used to healthcare, is very inspiring. And it's nice to know that we share a lot of common views. So those were very nice comments that I myself will learn from. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. I think if two words that could come from or two phrases, is the issue of leadership awareness and also the issue of mentorship. I think we see all really shared deeply on that. And we're looking forward to hear about our foundation as well, hopefully sometime soon. The last question from Ndwakuru, Emmanuel Lugaga. It's going to give us the last question or second last question. Then other question, I think Dr. Raphulu will find a way to answer it very nicely in closing comments. And that is from Mr. Manager saying that when are we going to get our first book from Dr. Raphulu? So yeah, you answered that one very well. But Mr. Ndwakuru Emmanuel Lugaga, please go ahead. Mr. Emmanuel, we cannot hear you, but you're unmuted. Please go ahead. In the meantime, Dr. Raphulu, you can be telling us if you're going to be writing that book and when we can expect it on Amazon.
Maybe I just need to get some things off my plate, get my master students to qualify, and I think I'll need to free up some time to. It would be very nice to write a book. But yeah, I'll need to free up some things. I've got my plate full, but it's a thought that I will definitely consider.
Amen. Then I'm happy. Shame. Struggling to hear Mr. Ndwakuri Manuel. Maybe you could just write a comment. But yeah, time is not on our side. Just gonna say that thank you to you, Dr. Raphulu, for giving yourself time, and thank you to your husband who allowed you to spare that hours that you would spend with your children to just give us this awesome presentation that has really been helpful, insightful, and enlightening to many of us. And we're going to use the tools that you've just shared, even in our work, in our leadership spaces and places that we serve. I think in the request that we could have from you is that, if possible, would you allow us to get a copy of your presentation, and then we can share to those who have attended and would like a copy as well. Otherwise, to everyone who has attended, thank you so much. Thank you, esteemed Manager. Thank you, Madam CEO, for joining us tonight. And yeah, Dr. Raphulu, you can give your closing comments as we close it.
Thank you so much. It has been an honor to speak on this platform. I'm very passionate about leadership, and I think this is one of the Unfolding Capacities doing amazing work. It's a need that we have in this world to create more leaders or to empower people who are already in the leadership position. So thank you so much for having me. And I also learned a lot from the comments and the questions that made me think. So thank you so much for having me. I personally myself think I should also attend these lessons. Like I said, the growing never stops and improving never stops. So thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you. To everyone that is here for the first time, thank you for joining us. You're welcome to check out our YouTube channel for Unfolding Capacity for the previous session videos and recordings. Also, you're going to get this one as well uploaded on YouTube very soon. But yeah, please do subscribe on our channel and make sure that you follow us on our LinkedIn, on my LinkedIn page, Amazement Titus, and just to make sure that you get updates as well. Thank you to Dr. Semwana Doe and all the regulars that join us. Otherwise, have a beautiful evening and keep unfolding your capacity. Good night.